Thank you, my beloved friend. Actually, we're going to be doing, it's kind of like the oneness blessing. We're accessing the I am nature without touch now. About a year and a half ago, it was that moment right before waking up, when you're sound asleep. Oops. And I heard this voice wake me up saying, source code, source code, source code, over and over and over and over. And I didn't have any idea what that meant, and it was annoying, and I wanted to go back to sleep, and I did. And this happened several mornings, and it kept giving me this message: it's your source code, it's your source code, it's your source code. And before I finish what that whole sentence was about, let me ask you a question. How many of you have really been getting it that there is a massive spiritual awakening taking place? Structures are breaking down. Old things are breaking down everywhere, and they are breaking down in us too. And many of us have that experience. I may be the only one. Maybe it's happening to you too, where you experience great highs and great lows. It's the transformational phase of spiritual awakening. Okay, the transformational stage of spiritual awakening, where we are really opening up to this higher consciousness in a big way, but at the same time, all that has kept us caught in lower consciousness is being healed. It has to come up. And I don't think I'm the only one. Have anybody else gone through any of that? I call it the I remember, I forgot, I remember. I wake up, I fall asleep, I wake up, I fall asleep, I remember, I forget, right? Yeah, we have that experience. And today we're looking at prepare the way. On Palm Sunday, the Palm Sunday in the Christian tradition is this, this week before the crucifixion, the resurrection, let's call it the preparation, the period right before the transfiguration, the awakened consciousness, the resurrection, Christ consciousness, the week before, the preparation ground. And I'm so grateful. I think it's really beautiful to be able to come here and share this I am teaching on Palm Sunday, because this is the revelation that's, coming as my little piece on this drama called Earth, that there is a preparation period that we need a little help. We need assistance and support. And we have tons of assistance and support from the angelic field, from the ascended master field, from friends and community to help us wake up to that I am nature, that Christ consciousness within us that is not broken or asleep. So that morning, just about a year and a half ago, that source code. And I knew what it was talking about. It was talking about I am, because I have been a student of the I am. How many have heard of the I am discourses? Anybody heard of that? This is from 1932, and it's just channeled writings from the Ascended Masters, and it's considered quite esoteric and out there until Wayne Dyer wrote his last book, Wishes Fulfilled, before he passed. And in that book, he talked about the I am discourses and the power of I am. And now we're hearing it everywhere, the power of I am. What follows I am follows you. How are you using your words of I am? And so I had been a student of that. My mother had given me this little book, the I Am Discourses, when I was 18 years old, and I had read it, and I tried to read it, I tried to understand it, and then a few years later I found Science of Mind, and I got into Science of Mind. I love Science of Mind, because Science of Mind taught me that I was this divine being having this earthly experience, but innately I was divine, and I'm like, that's what the I Am teachings say, I am that I am. And the science of mind taught me, my consciousness is creating form. Consciousness is the predecessor to form on earth, and to try to continue to go back to consciousness as a priority, consciousness first, and to start to look at our world of appearances as the reflection of consciousness, not the world of appearances as cause. Sound familiar? Yeah, that's right. But the world of appearance is so hypnotizing. And that's not all that's hypnotizing. What's also hypnotizing is our mind. Now, this source code. It's kind of hard to reprogram your habits. Have you ever noticed? I didn't know what it meant, so I did what anybody does when they don't know what something means. You Google it. Exactly. You Google it, and so of course I went to Wikipedia, and Wikipedia said that in computing, source code is any collection of computer instructions written using a human readable programming language. Source code may be interpreted, therefore immediately executed. Source code. An interpretable program that can be easily interpreted and acted upon. I am is the source code. So we know every day we are operating, life is like, our mind is like a one great big computer program. Did you know that? It is, isn't it? It's like a computer program, and we know there's a whole bunch of unhealthy programs, and so we go through life trying to have an upgrade, right? We're getting updates. We need an update because that old program on limitation and lack and loneliness and separation and there's never enough or I'm not good enough, and all these programs that we were born into, not only born into in our own family of origin, but we were born into genetically and born into collectively in the collective consciousness around us. And when we study the nature of the brain itself and how we're trying to have consciousness in this human brain system, but the human brain itself is still operating out of this old reptilian brain. So we've got this divine consciousness trying to be known, revealed, and expressed through this old program called the human brain and the human neurological system, which is unhealthy at best. In fact, I saw this study recently, maybe you've heard it, and they studied rats, and they loved orange blossoms. So these rats would run over to the orange blossoms and smell it. Oh, they just love smelling orange blossoms. And then they decided to give them a shock every time they went to the orange blossoms. And of course, it didn't take long for them to quit going to orange blossoms because now that represented fear to them. They took their babies away. They never put them anywhere near orange blossoms. And then 2 generations later, their rat babies, grandbabies, still will not go anywhere near orange blossoms. 3 generations later, they won't go anywhere near orange blossoms because the fear of orange blossoms is in the DNA of the rat. 3 generations later. So half the stuff we're working through isn't even ours. It's working through this neurological system that we're dealing with, right? So give your neighbor a pat on the back and say, I'm sorry, I know it's tough. It's okay. It's not your fault. I am is the source code. So this contemplation kept working in me, and I kept contemplating it and thinking about it and meditating upon it. And over the last year and a half, this whole I am meditation and this energetic alignment and this new thing, it starts to make so much more of a difference and so much more sense that the mind can't reprogram the mind. That the spirit, who we are, the I am nature, already whole, already perfect, and our very contemplation and our very contemplation of the word I am is quickening our awakening. The very contemplation and the spoken word of I am is saying, I am that I am. The word itself, I am, holds a sacred power. And the contemplation in a meditation of I am puts us in harmony, in that energetic alignment with that which is real. And that which is real is uploading the new operating system for us to be able to express divinity through. So we're in the middle of a massive update, a massive upgrade, an actual new operating system. Not Word 7, right? OS 12, baby. That a new operating system through our meditation and through our contemplation of I am is beginning to shift us energetically so that this presence, this power can become moving in us and through us in a really much more powerful and smooth, loving way. So imagine this. Imagine that consciousness is like a 4-story house. Now that's very simplified because consciousness is much more complex than that. I also have a side gig. Since I don't have a church now, I have a side gig and I teach meditation in mental health. So I work with people that are just like you and me. Just regular folks going through drama, going through things. And now when we go through things, our mind is put into the fight or flight response. And it's overactivated, and it goes and it opens up all the dragons down there. And then we don't know what to do with it. And so this is a simple thing, but it really shows. Imagine that we have a 4-story house. You are a 4-story house, and we have the first floor and the second floor, the third floor and the fourth floor. The first floor and the second floor are what I call human consciousness, or even lower consciousness, not just human consciousness, but the steeped in separation. And first level of consciousness is like kind of like the flight. So in the fight or flight response, flight meaning you have a little bit of stress and something wants to run away from it. Your security issues are triggered, right? And so you run, you isolate. It could be simple, like just boredom and frustration. So we have the first floor. That's where we're just trying to get our security needs met, and they don't. We go to the first floor. Then we have the second floor. It's a little more aggressive. That's kind of our fight place. That's our ego place. That's our I got to be right level of consciousness. And then, and a lot of people just in human consciousness and for thousands of years lived in this survival mechanism consciousness. That's the brain we were born into, that lived in this first and second floor of consciousness. And then we've got the third and fourth floor of consciousness. Third I call the penthouse, because life is good in the penthouse, right? And the penthouse is where we start to spiritually awaken, and we awaken to that divinity within us, even if we don't have words for that. It's a more optimistic, more positive viewpoint. It could be as simple as the cup is half full instead of half empty. I have a sense that things are going to work out okay. On the spiritual path, we really start opening up the whole inner system to realizing that I'm part of something whole. There's some oneness. And I can trust life. Life is happening for my good. Life is happening for me, not to me. That's that stage of consciousness where we start to realize that we're participating with the law, we're participating with God or Spirit. We feel better. Life is good. We can actively begin to change our thinking, change our patterns, and to align in higher consciousness. And it feels better, right? How many know it feels better? Say, it feels better on the penthouse. It does. It feels better on the penthouse. On the penthouse, checks show up. Unexpected money comes in. We like it up there on the penthouse. Penthouse is good. I always say penthouse is like the goal, right? Like, this is because we can manage. And what's happening in the brain is now the frontal lobe is activated. Okay? When we just live from that responsive brain, that unconscious survival brain, the frontal lobe, which is your capacity for a new choice, is dormant half the time because we're operating out of the old thoughts and the old patterns. We want to activate the frontal lobe through meditation, through consciousness, through conscious choice. Because now we can start to make new choices. Every time I begin to meditate upon I am, I'm opening the frontal lobe. I'm opening this awakened consciousness to make room for this I am nature to come through, speak its word, co-create, be more empowered of a co-creator on the earth from choice instead of an old pattern that came from 3 generations or more ago. Right? So we got that third floor of consciousness, that penthouse state of consciousness, and then we've got the fourth floor. The fourth floor I call the divine observatory. That's the observation center. That's the part of you that really is in alignment with your I am nature. I am aware that I am aware. That's a part of you that is awake, never was asleep. That's watching the whole thing going, cool, interesting, I love this. This is interesting how this other aspect of me is waking up and going through drama. Interesting. In fact, when you're right down there on the first floor just sucking it up, that part of you is upstairs wide awake going, wow, interesting. And the more we can wake up and be able to go upstairs on the fourth floor, we can actually be down on the first floor, but some of us, part of our awareness is awake, going, I am watching this. And as the third and fourth floors awaken in us, now we've activated physiologically the frontal lobe. We have access, the capacity for choice. And living upstairs is living from the I am nature. And now we begin to consciously co-create, choose, and be affirmative in our thoughts and actions. Right? Is that good? Say, I want that. We want that. That's exactly right. We want that on a more sustained basis. And I want you to know, in case you may know this already, the first and second floor, it's not who you are. It's a program in a program. We're living out of this, like the Matrix. That's why I love the movie Matrix. It's like this program. And every time you utter I am, it is saying I am remembering I am. And the part of you that is uttering I am is I am. Uttering that I am to wake you up to I am. And the more you utter I am, the more you wake up to I am, and the more you utter I am, and it goes on, and it goes on, and it goes on. And in the beginning, you just have to remember to utter I am a little more often. And as we utter I am a little more often, we go into this alignment, and then we begin to realize what follows I am is following me. Because unconsciously, when we're living out of levels 1 and 2, we're using the words I am, but we're using the words in a way to co-create poverty, loneliness, separation, and struggle. I am overwhelmed. I am tired. I am sick. I am getting old. I am lonely. I am alone. Cancel, clear. But we're here waking up to use our words of I am in a way that are in alignment with what I am really means and how it can serve in a more powerful way. Would that be good? I want to read for a moment, if I could, from the I am discourses. In its foreword, it states this: It is the most important understanding mankind can ever have. And there is no freedom nor perfection for the individual except through this conscious application. Nothing will bless the individual to so great a degree as the conscious understanding of this creative word, I am. I am is God's name. I am is your true name, and I am is your true nature. And when you say and contemplate the words of I am and it moves you into higher consciousness. And it aligns you with the energetic codes, the energetic life that can hold you in alignment with its nature, to give you a little support and a little help. Would that be good? In the Easter story, in the week before, we know Jesus rode in on the donkey, which for the time was a great rebuke of the law of the day, which said that the Jews must walk into Jerusalem for Passover, not ride the donkey. He had to walk across. He walked across palm trees, which were signifying of royalty coming in a political climate that it wasn't that smart to walk in saying, I am king. And remember, the other key point in that story was when Jesus visited the temple and cleared the money changers out of the sacred home. And this aspect is a part as well of our journey. The sacred home is our holy house. Our sacred house of consciousness. Your sacred house of consciousness is your body too. Is your brain. Is your mind. It's your whole aspect. There's so much to us as multidimensional beings. So this journey, we know this journey is always about clearing out the sacred chamber. Clearing out the sacred hallways, right? Washing the money changers out is washing out that which is, in that story, was degrading to the sacred temple. And what is degrading to this sacred temple is our alignment with all that is not the divine. And so we have the opportunity to use the power of I am to clear the sacred chamber. And we will be doing that in the workshop a little bit as we teach the alignment techniques, right? To ask the I am nature to clear this up. You can't clear it up with your mind. Your mind created it. It's a part of the problem. So we ask the I am nature, clear this in me that I may see more clearly. Clear these old beliefs in me so that I may know and stand in alignment with I am, that I am prospered and blessed, that I am supported and supplied. That we go directly to the I am nature for the energetic mirroring of that which we want reflected in the outer world. So we work at the level of cause, which is energy, which is feelings, and which is, how do you describe it? You know what I mean. The energetic substance, the spiritual substance that is cause before form. One technique, and we're going to do it, I want to do it right with us. Oh, I got to stop talking. See, that's the problem with me. The breath and your body is the highway to your higher consciousness because it gets underneath that conditioned nature mind. So I invite you right now to bring your attention right to your nose. Right to your nose. And then contemplate I on the in-breath and am on the out-breath. I on the in-breath, am on the out-breath. And even when thought enters in, just gently bring it back to the nose. I am. I am. I am. And in that, just 3 conscious breaths of I am take us underneath the conditioned mind and take us in to higher consciousness. Brings us right into the center of us, into alignment with that I am nature. Just one little thing done again and again can begin to take us home and keep us in alignment. I don't bring a lot of things, I bring one. Just the encouragement for the deep contemplation of I am. In closing, do you remember the movie Apollo 13? And in the movie, Tom Hanks' character, I'm so busy calling him Tom Hanks, I don't even remember the real guy's name. Neither do you, right? And in this movie, everything's going wrong. Everything has broken, all the instrumentation is broken down. The alarms are sounding. It's chaos. Everybody on the ground is crazy, and the ship is crazy. The alarms are sounding, and finally, Tom Hanks says, "Stop. Turn off the alarms. Let's not focus on what's not working. Let's see what do we have." And they turned all the alarms off, and they started to look for what's working. And they discovered that they had one tiny window in the ship, and if they kept that one tiny window with the earth in view, that would take them home. Just one thing. And so they kept just navigating the ship according to this one little window where they could keep their home in view. Keep their home in view. Make the main thing the main thing. Forget everything else and get that one thing and make the main thing the main thing. And see what is working. And when they kept the main thing and kept their eye on home, they made it home safely. And that one thing that I just offer you to practice is to keep your home in view. I am is your home. And uttering the words and contemplating the vibration of it takes you in alignment of I am that I am. And that I am presence isn't lost. It knows its way and will guide you through every hardship or difficulty that you have. This I know for sure. Thank you. And so it is.